On the morning of October 19th, 1986, a young boy named Billy walked up to his father at the breakfast table and handed him a neatly wrapped parcel. It had just been delivered by an unknown man. His father, a man of fearless ambition, took the package, examined it, and opened it. The bomb went off instantly. As he was rushed to hospital, barely clinging to life, the words he kept repeating told the whole story. He died hours later. He was 39, and to this day, nobody has been convicted of his murder. This is the story of Dele Giwa, journalist, visionary, and the first person in Nigerian history to be assassinated by a letter bomb. To understand why Dele Giwa was killed, you first need to understand who he was and what he represented. Sumonu Oladele Giwa was born on the 16th of March, 1947 in Ile-Ife, in the then western region of Nigeria. His family worked in the palace of the Uni of Ife, Oba Adesoji Aderemi. From the very beginning, life was not handed to him easily. His father was a laundryman. His family was poor. But Dele Giwa had a mind that refused to be boxed in. In his third year in secondary school at Oduduwa College, Ile-Ife, he became the founding editor of the school's bi-monthly magazine called The Torch. Even then, as a teenager, his destiny was already announcing itself. Unable to afford university in Nigeria, Giwa hustled his way to the United States. He earned a Bachelor of Arts in English from Brooklyn College in 1977, then enrolled in a graduate program at Fordham University. He worked at the New York Times as a news assistant for 4 years before returning to Nigeria, not to slow down, but to build something that had never been done before. In 1984, Giwa, along with fellow journalists Ray Ekpu, Dan Agbasi, and Yakubu Muhammad, founded Newswatch magazine. The first edition was distributed on January 28, 1985. It was Nigeria's first serious news magazine, modeled after Time and Newsweek, bold, investigative, and unafraid. As his colleague Ray Ekpu later recalled, Dele loved journalism. He lived for journalism. His passion for professional excellence and integrity defined everything about Newswatch. The magazine changed the format of print journalism in Nigeria, introducing bold, investigative reporting to a country where the press had largely played it safe under military rule. At its peak, the magazine had a circulation of 150,000 copies. Nigerians were hungry for the truth, and Newswatch was feeding them. But the truth, in military Nigeria, was a dangerous thing to serve. In August 1985, General Ibrahim Babangida seized power in a bloodless coup, overthrowing General Muhammadu Buhari. At first, Newswatch was almost enthusiastic about the new head of state. The magazine printed Babangida's face on its cover 4 times and even praised those around him. But that honeymoon did not last long. As Babangida's regime began to reveal its true character, secretive, authoritarian, and ruthless toward dissent, Newswatch pivoted. Dele Giwa was not a man who compromised. He believed that a free press was not a luxury, but a necessity, and he was willing to pay the price for that belief. By 1986, tensions between the magazine and the Babangida administration had grown significantly. Giwa had written a column on the government's introduction of the second-tier foreign exchange market, SFEM, arguing that it must succeed, or those in government would be stoned in the streets. It was the kind of commentary that stings because it is true. Then came the Gloria Okan affair, one of the most explosive and murky threads in this entire story. Dele Giwa had allegedly been investigating the case of a woman named Gloria Okan, who had been arrested for drug trafficking and was later reported to have died in government custody. According to accounts that emerged later, Giwa had obtained photographs taken in London suggesting that Gloria Okan, whose real name may have been Chinyere, was still alive, possibly connected to powerful figures close to the first family of the Babangida regime. Whether Giwa was investigating this or not, and some of his Newswatch colleagues have disputed the centrality of this angle, what is clear is this: by October 1986, the Nigerian security apparatus had him in its crosshairs. 3 days before his death, the walls began closing in. On Thursday, October 16, 1986, Dele Giwa received a telephone call from Colonel Halilu Akilu of the Directorate of Military Intelligence. Akilu alleged that Giwa had been overheard discussing the illegal importation and stockpiling of arms. The following day, Friday, October 17th, Giwa was summoned to the headquarters of the State Security Service at 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. His colleague Ray Ekpu accompanied him, but only Giwa was taken inside to meet the director, Lieutenant Colonel Ajibola Kunle Toga. Inside that office, 4 chilling allegations were laid against him. First, that Newswatch was planning to publish an unflattering account of the removal of Commodore Ebitu Ukiwe as Chief of General Staff. Second, that Giwa was defending a police spokesman who had accused soldiers of negligence. Third, that Giwa was colluding with labor unions, university academic staff, and student bodies to orchestrate a socialist revolution against the government. And fourth, there were accusations relating to the magazine's editorial choices. These were not just allegations. They were, in the language of military regimes, a warning, a final one. Giwa was so disturbed by the interrogation that he immediately called Akilu himself to complain. And remarkably, Akilu called Giwa's wife the very next day to ask for directions to their house. According to Ray Ekpu, a few hours later, a government emissary arrived at Giwa's Ikeja residence. The next morning, Sunday, October 19, 1986, a parcel arrived. It was a quiet Sunday morning at number 25 Talabi Crescent off Adeniyi Jones Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos. Dele Giwa was sitting at his dining table with Kayode Soyinka, Newswatch's London bureau chief, having breakfast. Then Giwa's first son, Billy, walked in and handed his father a parcel, saying it had been delivered by some unknown persons. Giwa took the parcel. He examined it. The package reportedly bore markings suggesting it had come from the presidency. He opened it. The bomb detonated with devastating force. Kayode Soyinka, who was sitting across from him, was temporarily deafened by the blast. Giwa's wife and neighbors rushed in and found him sprawled on the floor in a pool of blood, his body badly charred. While being transported to the hospital, Dele Giwa kept moaning the same words over and over. "They have got me." He died there, in that hospital, hours later. He was 39 years old. It was Nigeria's first recorded mail bomb assassination, and it remains one of the darkest moments in the country's journalistic history. Nigeria was shocked, not just by the death, but by the cruelty of it. Nigeria did not have a history of murdering journalists. The military might rough you up or detain you, but killing journalists, this was new. This was something else entirely. In the hours and days that followed, what happened, or rather, what did not happen, was equally telling. On October 20th, the day after the murder, Vice Admiral Augustus Ikomu presided over a government press conference. All press photographers, international reporters, and Nigerians working for foreign news organizations were asked to leave before it began. Those who remained were told the briefing was off the record and that Ikomu would not be taking any questions. The government announced that a judicial commission of inquiry would be established to investigate the murder, but that commission never came to be. The police kept saying they had no fresh leads. The case file stayed open, and years passed. The one man who fought hardest for justice was the legendary Lagos lawyer and human rights activist, Chief Gani Fawehinmi. He launched repeated legal battles to prosecute the case as a private prosecutor, after the Director of Public Prosecutions refused to act. In 2000, at the sitting of Nigeria's Human Rights Violations Investigation Commission, the Oputa panel, Fawehinmi broke down in tears as he narrated how his friend was murdered. He urged the commission to recommend prosecution of all suspected killers. But the suspects, Babangida, Akilu, and Togun, obtained a court ruling that prevented the panel from summoning them. Babangida was summoned but never turned up. When asked why the Dele Giwa case was different from others, he reportedly responded with a question: "Why is Dele Giwa's case different?" And then he never showed up. The commission, in the end, did not issue arrest warrants. Its chairman said they chose not to, and the reason given was, chillingly, the overall interest of national unity. Justice, once again, bowed to power. This is the question that has haunted Nigeria for nearly 4 decades, and the answer depends on who you ask. The most widely circulated theory points directly at the Babangida regime. The package reportedly bore markings associated with the Nigerian presidency. The interrogations just days before his death, conducted by military intelligence officials, suggest a systematic campaign of intimidation that culminated in murder. Investigations by Chief Gani Fawehinmi pointed to Lieutenant Colonel Ajibola Kunle Togun, who interrogated Giwa 2 days before his murder, and Colonel Halilu Akilu, who called Giwa's wife to ask for directions to the house the evening before his death. A more specific account emerged years later from a Nigerian-American academic named Ogunade. He claimed that soldiers loyal to the executed General Maman Vatsa told him that after Halilu Akilu and Colonel A.K. Togun of military intelligence prepared the parcel bomb, it was handed to Buba Marwa, a known loyalist of Babangida who later became military governor of Lagos, to deliver to Giwa's home. This account has never been proven or officially verified. Babangida himself has consistently denied any involvement. In his autobiography, A Journey in Service, Babangida describes seeing Giwa's murder as part of a series of destabilization attempts against his government, and questioned the logic of a supposed killer marking a parcel with the presidential logo. Babangida himself has consistently denied any involvement. He has portrayed himself as a grieving leader who also wanted answers. Answers that conveniently never came under his watch. The truth is this: no one has ever been charged. No one has ever been tried. No one has ever been convicted. Dele Giwa's death cast a long, cold shadow over Nigerian journalism. His colleagues at Newswatch described looking at his empty chair in the office and knowing it would never be filled again. The pain, they say, is still fresh. It stabs each time they see his handsome face in a photograph and remember how his body looked after the bomb. His brother Tunde has spoken of a family left in limbo for decades. He said, "We are at a loss because for 34 years, nothing has been done to find his killers. We are not happy." The Nigerian government honored Giwa in 2008 by renaming a road in Abuja after him, a gesture that, to his family and colleagues, feels hollow against the backdrop of zero accountability. Dele Giwa is remembered for a famous quote that feels almost prophetic: "Nigeria is on fire, and the citizens are amused." He said that about a country that seemed incapable of summoning outrage for long enough to create real change. And in a darkly ironic twist, his own murder proved exactly that point. There was outrage, there were protests, legal battles, and tearful testimonies. The case went cold. The powerful remained free. His death demonstrated how the pursuit of truth could be punished in the most brutal form, and how, in Nigeria, justice could be delayed evidence concealed and truth left to the wind.